It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. We're back live on the Big Mountain.
Hey, welcome back to a live episode on the Big Mountain. Sorry we missed you guys last week. Steve and I had other things going on, but we're back live. We had been going quite strong with back-to-back weeks of live episodes, and so we just had to take a mini break.
Gotta take a break sometime.
It's all good. I see we got some of our peeps in the house. Make sure you comment and say hello. And I know that college football guy, he sent me a message asking about why we were going live at 4:19 Mountain, and I'm like, I don't know, because we go live at 8:30.
Right.
And I also see Sargent was questioning the 3:19. We're always 8:30.
Yeah.
Don't believe YouTube.
Yep. Sometimes it's wrong.
Anyway, all right. Well, here's what we're doing tonight, everybody. We're gonna have a kind of a laid back episode. JY has had a crazy work life the past few days. I've got a full thing of beer, which is very important. And Steve has helped put together some of our goodies. And I think we're going to start just with a very high-level House and NCAA settlement upcoming items.
Sounds good.
Is that where you want to start?
Yeah, sure.
Then we'll talk real quick. I got some information on one of our Mount Rushmore people. There's some news came out. And then we're going to talk about a little bit about March Madness. I think you have some slides you want to talk about. I did an episode on the 4 teams from the Mountain West. I already had one lose. And they didn't just lose, Steve. They got freaking crushed.
Yeah, I got home last night from a very important meeting.
Yeah.
And was watching the game. At some point, I fell asleep. And when I woke up, the Aztecs were losing by 40. So I turned the game off.
It was very, very bad. Yeah. Guess who's in the house that we haven't had for a very long time? Big Mama 69. Big Mama 69 in the house. I see Sergeant. I see DJ. Hey, fellas. Good to have you here. Sergeant's here. Bill, the college football guy. Bill told me he drove through some crazy stuff out in the southern, I guess, southwestern portion of the country. They had sandstorms and windstorms and all kinds of stuff.
There's been tornadoes and all kinds of stuff going across the country, starting in the south and coming up our way.
Well, he's safe. He's headed back east now. But he went through it, man. He was worried about his truck tipping over. He passed a truck that was tipped over, and yeah, not good stuff. So
bad juju.
Everybody be safe out there, regardless if you're in a big old semi or you're not. Just be safe.
Yeah,
it's always safety first. Jerry Keenan, welcome to the Big Mountain. Welcome back to the Big Mountain. All right, let's get to some of the ends. I don't know how much of this. There was a lot of reporting kind of late-ish last week. Dellinger again, throwing out some info. He's got the sources.
Always.
I mean, I don't know who he's got, but he's got the sources. And this was mainly about the settlement that's upcoming here next month. Believe it or not, we're only a few weeks away, finally. Hopefully, we get something out of this. And I said on X today, we're going to do something even if it is wrong. Hopefully it's not totally wrong.
Yeah.
But, and the big thing that that I saw was, I posted about this some on X, but about the committee that's going to help them kind of oversee how the settlement's going to be implemented, the implementation committee. And I did an episode on Monday about the PAC because people were getting all excited because, there's the AD of both First of all, they're a part of it because they're defendants in the lawsuit. The PAC is defendants in the lawsuit.
Yep.
And Steve, just remind me, and I'm not hating on the PAC, but how many teams are in the PAC, schools are in the PAC right now?
Right now, 2.
There's 2 schools in the PAC.
Yep.
So it only makes sense to me, Steve, that at least one AD from all of the defendant conferences, which is 5, would have at least one AD on that committee.
Yes.
Because they're a defendant.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, both of them are. So the PAC's pulling 100%.
Yes.
They got both of them, which I think's great. I don't have a knock on that. But a lot of people blew that out of proportion, in my opinion. Oh, look, not only that they're on it, but they're both on it. And whoa, what does that mean? They have a lot of power. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. They're defendants. Yeah. They absolutely should be on it. I'd be really concerned if they weren't. And then they went down this autonomous status route and all this kind of stuff. So I'm bloviating, Steve. What was your takeaway?
Well, so I think that it was good that they're on it. It makes sense, like you said, they're defendants. So I mean that's probably the most important thing going on right now is getting this House settlement settled and moving forward. So they have representation, and I think that's a good thing. I still think, and we've talked about this many times,
Yes.
there's way too much focus on everyone wants to go back to the pack, the people that are left in the pack, they want to go back and get what they had before. Well, the thing is college football has changed, and it's going to change a lot more. And we may see a whole new structure after this settlement and after the new things that happen with the NCAA, where it doesn't matter what if you're a P4, P5, A this or A that.
Yeah.
There's going to be a certain level of teams and programs that have a certain financial means, and they're going to have a certain level of power, and there's going to be tiers to that, and it's not going to look like the old
Right.
P5, A5. Right. So I really think people need to stop worrying about that,
Right.
about grabbing what they had before,
Yes.
and focus on what's college football going to look like after this House settlement, and then when we get to 2030 and beyond, and setting themselves up for the best, their best opportunity moving forward in the new reality
Yes.
of college football.
Agree. If you're focused on the pack, the A5, you're completely missing the boat on the future, and that's what's important right now. But be that as it may, that's where some people still are, and I can appreciate that. There's also been some talk that possibly, and I'm not sure I've seen this confirmed anywhere, but possibly this implementation committee is also somehow coordinated with, I don't think it's exactly the new governance committee, but they're having discussions with the new governance committee as well. So there's influence being had from the people and the individuals on this implementation committee into the new governance committee. And I don't know how deep that is. I don't know how specific that is. But I think that's where some of maybe this, like, the Pac-2 right now, has a seat at the table to what that new governance looks like. I would just say, even if they do, I don't think the Power 2 is going to give up any power to a former Power 5 conference. So I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I just think that's the reality of it. That's kind of what I said in the PAC update as well. I don't know if you want to go any further on that.
Well, again, kind of a similar thought is right now we see the powers that be, which is really the P2.
Yes.
And the programs that are probably going to be in the P2, along with the NCAA, power structure there.
Yeah.
Basically trying to use this settlement and convert it to the new governance model. Use it to establish a new governance model. So it makes sense that everybody who is a current defendant, because they're using this settlement of the case to build the governance structure, that they would be a part of that. And they may be a part of that.
Yeah, they may.
But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, and what you and I have been saying for a while, love it or hate it, the P2 is going to control all of that. Just like they do with the CFP, love it or hate it, with the governance, whatever they want to do is going to happen. That's just kind of how it is. And then also, we don't know if this is going to be a successful effort to use this settlement to create this governance. There's people that have challenged it.
Yes.
This is a settlement of grievances from past players, maybe some current players, but past players.
Yeah.
What if a year from now a new player says, I don't think this is fair, I'm going to challenge it under antitrust.
Right.
I'm going to file an antitrust suit. All of this could be blown up and torn apart anyway. So I don't think it's just not worth getting worried about, because they may not be successful using this to create a governance. And if they do use this to create a governance, the people that have the real power are the P2 and maybe the schools that are going to be in the P2.
Right. And I agree. I've actually had a couple DMs with a friend of the show, Immaculate. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be good as we get closer to this, as more information comes out, may have him back on either a live episode, and maybe we'll do a recording with him. He follows these types of items very, very closely as well. Always good to have a conversation with him. So we may have Immaculate back on here in not too long too long from now.
I hope we do, and I'll say, and Immaculate has been on this for a long time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he and I, we've had disagreements on how we see things going or whatever, but he's been on this a long time that, Congress is going to have to take action. Whether it is, creating a new governance system, whether it's giving a antitrust exemption to college football to the NCAA. We had a bunch of hearings where they were arguing for that recently in the House.
Yes.
And it really doesn't look like it's going anywhere in the House. Immaculate, I think, has said he's been vocal on Twitter that he always thought that if they were going to make progress, it'd be in the Senate with what Ted Cruz is leading.
Yeah.
So that's something he's been on a long time. You know me, I have very little faith in Washington fixing any of our problems, including the NCAA's problems. But I think he's a little more helpful, and he's been on this for a while, because really, when you look at this settlement, it's not bulletproof at all.
Oh, no.
To antitrust, it's very vulnerable to antitrust, which could blow up the entire thing.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It definitely will settle past issues.
Yes,
for the most part,
past issues.
But it'll get us to the today.
Right.
I don't think it's going to get us through the future very far without there being new lawsuits, new problems, until we get a new governance structure that, hopefully is backed by some sort of legislation that they have. We're going to, I hate to say it's a hope and a prayer, but I don't know what else there's going to be at this point. Yeah. So let's quickly get into some of the comments here quick. I saw JEH giving a shout out to the Lady Beeves, kicking some butt in the WCC championship, so they get a spot in the NCAA tournament.
And I'm going to have something special for JH here in a little bit. So make sure you hang around, JH. Got something special for you and the Bees fans.
Skating Rebels dominated. I'll tell you what, that Rebel hockey team is they're making some noise. La Cruces, yep. We got Bill up there in La Cruces. We've got, of course, Sargent in Vegas, not Vegas, Vegas. I say, what's his name says I'm hiccuping. I have no hiccups. Sergeant, not Sergeant. It's our Love Muscle. Love Muscle says I had hiccups. I don't have hiccups. Not yet. That comes later.
Yeah, once you're about
we got to get down. We got to get a little bit further down. Bill saying he's hoping this settlement comes through. Yeah, let's just get through it and get on to the next thing. That's kind of where we're at. JEH saying, tell him, JY. Pack not going back to P status. Genetics in the house. Accurate, JY. However, it is mostly Big Ten doing the feedback. The creators all this spec lawsuits right after approval. Yeah, I don't anticipate it being very, very long until there'll be new lawsuits based on the settlement that some people think is going to take care of everything. And that's a bit of an overstatement, but that's okay.
It'll just be the first. This settlement will just be the starting point for the next lawsuits.
That's right.
Round of lawsuits.
There you go. And something fun that we just did. We recorded right before this. We'll put it out on Monday. It is a Big Ten SEC scheduling challenge. So there's a lot of discussion right now about the SEC going to 9 conference games, about a potential, SEC Big Ten scheduling agreement or whatever you want to call that. And so we had some fun with that.
Yep.
We're serious about it. But we don't know if it's going to happen.
Right.
But Steve decided he was going to match everybody up, and so we do that.
I had a lot of fun with it. Just kind of wild hair idea. We've been talking about this possible scheduling agreement for a while, and we've also been talking about expansion targets. So I got to kind of combine those into one kind of fun game and take everybody through it. So highly recommend watching that video. It was a lot of fun to do, and I think people will enjoy it.
Well, if you're drinking along with us, no Love Muscle R. This is not Coors Light. I'm into Pilsners all of a sudden. I really like the Pilsner, especially we're getting into spring, summertime, a little bit lighter than some of the other stuff that I've been drinking. So I got a Pilsner. This is a New Trail.
Okay.
It's from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I love New Trail beer.
Yeah, they're good stuff.
So it's a New Trail Pilsner. Give us a shout out of what you guys are drinking. If you're drinking along, if it's water, good. Stay healthy.
Well, what's the difference between Coors Light and water?
Well, Coors Light, okay. I actually think I mean, if I want a nice light beer that doesn't give me a hangy
on a hot day,
and I want to kind of drink water, but at the same time I want to drink beer, Coors Light is where it's at, baby. Okay, so I got to give a quick shout out here to a friend of the show.
Yeah.
One of the people on the Mount Rushmore that is the first ever Big Mountain Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. That is Jeremiah Dickey. He was named here just a few days ago. The NACDA. I don't know what that stands for. It has something to do with athletic directors. National Athletic. National Collegiate. I don't know. But anyway, the top dude of all athletic directors, Jeremiah Dickey. Bleeding Blue. What's next with the Broncos? Awesome sauce. He is an awesome dude. I listen to him almost anytime I can find an interview with him. I give it a listen. Always good to listen to. I've actually communicated with him recently, and I'm hopeful we'll actually get him back here on the Big Mountain for round number 2 with us, because we've got to talk about them making the CFP. Absolutely. We got to talk about Ashton Genty. Mm-hmm. Got to give him congratulations for being the athletic director of the year, and we got to ask him what's next.
Yep. Big things for Boise over the last year. Big things coming up. I agree with you. It was an absolute travesty that they were left out of the tournament. I watched every game they played in the Mountain West Conference Championship tournament, and to me, they were the most fun team to watch. They ran into that Colorado State juggernaut.
Yep.
That's been coming on, but really fun team to watch. Can't believe they were left out. But overall, great year for Boise State. Great honor for him. He's an up-and-comer. I hope Boise can hang on to him for a while, because I have a feeling he's got real big things in his future.
Yeah, he's making things happen there at Boise in a short amount of time. So we do have the UC Davis athletic director coming on. We're going to record with him on Monday. We'll get that out later next week, and we'll see if we can't get Jeremiah Dickey back on the mountain here come April. Got to work with their schedules. They're busy people. Of course, we know the Pac is getting close to probably, coming out with finalization of their media agreements, and also at least one addition. For those that follow us, you all know I've been talking Texas State and I've been talking St. Mary's for quite a while. And the rumors are picking back up again with the Pac.
Yeah.
This week, my goodness, I think there was always this, and I think Canzano put out like this, the 20th of March is like, I think it's going to happen right before the tournament, and everybody's getting all excited again. And I see all this stuff on X, and there's some new names being brought up. Rice is a new name that seems to be getting more attention, and of course, Memphis. And we'll see. At this point, we're doing Pac updates. I'm not doing it with the salacious news of who the additions are. You know where I'm at. I know they've had serious conversations with both Texas State and St. Mary's for 2026. A lot of people keep talking 27. I have not gone to 27. I think if Memphis, Tulane are interested, they're a 27 option. I have always been focused on 26. Yep. They got to get an 8th member before they can get to 2027. So that's why we've always focused on 2026. I think Texas State is absolutely at the top. There's actually been some rumors out there that Texas State is willing to take no media money for the first few years. I can't corroborate that. Don't even want to bring it up, but I just did.
Kind of like SMU with the ACC.
To get into the Pac. I don't know if that's true. My source hasn't said anything about that type of thing. But he's been clear from months ago that Texas State is absolutely now, most recently, locked in to the Pac.
I think they need to move forward. They need to get that 8th member. I think Texas State is a very solid addition for right now. I think some people are just focused too much on the past. For me, I want to focus on the future, and I think Texas State is a great play for them right now. And they can still pursue Memphis and Tulane. Just adding Texas State does not mean they give up on that.
Absolutely. Yes, agree.
And St. Mary's, I really think we've seen a shift, a turn. We've seen it with the SEC. There is an opportunity there to add value to conferences with basketball money.
Yes.
We're almost getting to the point where football money we see it kind of getting tapped out.
Right.
It's still always going to be like, the lion's share, 80% of the revenue or whatever.
Right.
But If you can, improve your conference financially by adding some basketball money, I think it's a great opportunity. So,
Okay. We got some shout outs here. Love Muscle drinking the 10 Barrels Lager. And we've got Sergeant drinking Red Trolley from Carl Strauss Brewery in San Diego. Says it's his favorite. I've never had it. I've heard of Carl Strauss. I don't know how you say that. But I've never had Red Trolley. I'm assuming Red Trolley, is that a lager? Is that a red ale? I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
But maybe I'll have to give a Red Trolley a try.
I'll tell you, being in the Navy, I was in San Diego a few different times, and their version of the Metro, like you have in DC,
Yes.
is the trolley.
Gotcha.
You ride the trolley everywhere, and they're always Red Trolley. So cool name. I'm guessing it's Carl Strauss. I mean, Levi Strauss is
There you
Strauss,
go.
so I'm guessing it's Carl Strauss.
Okay. I'll have to give a little. Red Trolley is a red ale. I assumed Red Trolley was going to be a red ale. That was my guess.
Have you been to San Diego? Did you?
I have.
Yeah, one of the most beautiful cities in the country.
Yes.
I just absolutely love it.
We went to the zoo. It was hot as Hades.
Yes. Well, the trolley basically goes like right through the zoo or like right by the zoo.
Something like that. Yeah, we picked a really hot day to walk around that zoo. Beautiful zoo, but it was freaking hot.
It can be hot there.
We also went. My wife wanted to do the paragliding just north of San Diego. Somebody can help me. I can't remember the name of it, but there wasn't enough wind because it was so freaking hot, so she couldn't do the parasailing or paragliding, whatever the hell that is. All right. I think we're ready to talk March Madness. 2 football guys. Oh, you have something else.
So JH says he's drinking water here.
Okay.
Well, again, JH, I got something for you. You may have seen this on Twitter. I hope not. I hope you haven't seen it yet. We just had St. Patrick's Day.
Monday.
Monday. Great day to go out and wear, for most of us, wear green, drink green beer, all that stuff. But not Beavs fans, okay?
Why not?
And I'm hoping our producer can bring this up on the show. We got a special pass for Beavs fans, because Beavs fans are not wearing green. I can tell you that right now, JY. There's zero chance that JEH was wearing green.
I thought they wore green and yellow quite often.
No, I don't think so. So I got this pass for JH. He can download it, hand it out to the kids or whatever. We missed you for Monday, but you can save it for next year. And it says, dear principal Beaver lover, as a family of devout Oregon State Beaver fans, my child JEH will not be wearing green today. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
There you go.
So I thought of you, JH, and I thought of all of our Beavs fans when I saw that. I had to make sure you got your hands on that, so we had to put it up there for you.
I have bad thoughts running through my head from what you just called the principal.
Let's just keep moving. Keep it moving.
That's all I'm going to say about that. So, yes, anyway, Bill says San Diego hot. Go to Vegas. Yeah, I'm telling you, I know. San Diego is usually beautiful.
Yeah.
We hit a really hot freaking day in San Diego. I hear you. I've been in Vegas in July. Steve and I might hit Vegas in July this year.
Let's do it.
Mountain West Media Days.
Woo!
Our goal is set. I just need the damn dates.
Yeah.
Come on, Mountain West, put the dates out so we can make some plans to get out to, Vegas in July. Because who doesn't want to go to Vegas in July?
Help us out, Gloria.
That's right.
Pat, put in a word. We need to know.
We got to get the dates. All right, so March Madness. We talked about San Diego State. They didn't. I don't know. I did a pick 'em.
Yes.
Preview, and I thought their defense was going to be enough to kind of keep them in the game. And holy crap, I don't think they had defense. They left it in San Diego. What the hell?
So you and I, mostly me, I've been following our local girls' high school basketball team for the last few years.
No.
And you're not necessarily a basketball guy.
Not
JY's
really.
not really a basketball guy. But one thing I've told you over the last few years is the way teams have really good defense, like our local team, really good defense. The way you beat that is to shoot the three. Well, boy, did North Carolina shoot the lights out. I think they made their 14 or 15 three-pointers.
Okay.
Just absolutely crazy. I mean, they were hot. They were on fire. And, it was obvious San Diego State didn't really have the offense to stick with them.
And they don't. They're a defensive team.
And really, I think they I forget what his name is, the Aztec player that led the conference in blocks and was like second in the nation in blocks.
I don't know the names.
Well, the thing is you neutralize him if you don't drive to the basket
Right.
and you're back there shooting threes, which is what North Carolina did.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And we talked about Boise State getting left out. Unfortunately, and these are the two teams that kind of knocked them out.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in my opinion, it was kind. I don't. You said from the beginning you didn't see Boise getting 5. I mean, Mountain West getting 5.
Right.
So in some ways, you could look at this as San Diego State knocked out Boise,
Yeah.
even though Boise beat them in the tournament.
Yeah.
And then they go and kind of crap the bed
Yeah.
and lose by 40 points.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing. But Lobo's still in it, right? Utah State still in it.
Yep.
Colorado State, which, like you've been telling me, nobody wants to play.
I don't want to play them. I don't want to play them. I don't play basketball, but I wouldn't want to play them if I did play basketball.
Right.
And they got Memphis, and I haven't checked today if there's been an update on their point guard. But, they're a 12 seed. Last I checked, the favorite in the 12-5 game. So, and I like the matchup. I do like the matchup there. I think Memphis may be slightly overseeded, but Colorado State absolutely underseeded.
So historically, that 12-5 matchup is where you get those first-round upsets. Some years more than others, and a lot of times it happens for that reason. You get a team that's maybe a little overinflated versus a mid-major team or whatever who really came on strong and just barely made the tournament.
Yeah.
They put them in that 12 seed against a 5 seed who was a little overseeded, whatever, and it's a ripe opportunity for an upset.
I think Colorado State being the 12 seed shows you that they probably wouldn't have made the tournament, just like New Mexico last year wouldn't have made the tournament unless they won the championship game. And I think the Rams should absolutely be in the tournament. They are playing some of the best ball right now. Now, it's the Mountain West. Dude, they're playing. I mean, they trashed Boise State in the final game.
Yeah.
Nick Clifford is... the dude's on fire.
So that leads me
one of the best kids in college basketball right now.
Absolutely.
In the nation.
And so I think we had the bracket up, but we're not going to do a deep dive into the entire. We're not a basketball show. We talked about the Mountain West, but I did want to bring up the next graphic. I saw this today.
Yeah.
Top 10 players in the country in the tournament. Okay, 2 Mountain West players.
Yeah.
Mr. Dent, I think number 9.
Yeah.
For the Lobos, and then Neek. Clifford, from Colorado State, number 10, on that list. So if we could bring up that graphic,
we're delayed.
The top, we're a little delayed. So sorry, guys. But anyways, I just thought that was. Out of 10 players, and it looks beautiful. Thank you, producer. Out of the 10 players, out of 70 something the teams that made it, and we got 2 from the Mountain West. I know you were pretty upset about the SEC getting 14 teams in.
Yes.
But at least we see 2 players from the Mountain West getting into the top 10 players. And honestly, those 2 teams, I think, the Lobos and Colorado State, both of them dangerous teams that could make some noise in this tournament.
I agree. I love seeing both of these kids on here. 2 of the top, and we had Ricky Thompson on, and he said these were the top 2 kids in the Mountain West, top 2 players in the Mountain West. He gave it to Dent, edged out Clifford there slightly. Yeah. So, here we have Dent at 8 and Clifford at 10. I don't think you can go wrong with either kid. Phenomenal talents, make their team be who they are. I will say Dent has that Nelly Jr. Joseph, who's played phenomenal this year as well. And they're really the 2 teams, not to undersell Utah State, but I think if the Mountain West is to get a win here in the first round, I think New Mexico and Colorado State are the most likely victories for them. I did a poll, I mentioned it on X. How many first round wins is the Mountain West going to be and are going to have? And my dwellers on X said 2. They said 2. Well, I think New Mexico and Colorado State are the most likely 2. Obviously, the Aztecs already screwed that up. Yeah. They would have had to win 2 to win a first-round matchup anyway. But I even if we get 1, I'm happy. I think if the Mountain West gets 1 first-round matchup, I saw somebody actually have one of the Mountain West teams going up to the Elite 8, possibly.
Wow.
And which would be fantastic. Some of that just depends on who the matchups are, how the draws worked out, and all that kind of stuff. And the way Colorado State's playing right now, I don't care who you are, you don't want to play this team.
So I did a bracket. I submitted it to CBS Sports. I'm not putting it up. We're not doing a bracket challenge or anything this year. But I did a bracket. I had both the Lobos and Colorado State winning in the first round, and then I actually had Colorado State advancing to the Sweet 16. I can't remember who the Lobos would have been matched up. I think it was too tough of a matchup for them.
Yeah.
But I got Colorado State going to the Sweet 16 on my bracket.
There you go.
And I'm not going to do a full breakdown of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Because I don't follow Big Ten basketball. I just don't. But I do like Michigan State this year.
Okay.
I have them going to the Final Four.
No.
And I have Duke winning it all.
Okay.
I just think this is Duke's year. SEC is getting all the talk, everything. Assuming their star, was it Flag, I think is his name for Duke. Assuming he comes back and he's healthy, I have them winning it all. And Michigan State making it to the Final Four. And I have Colorado State making it to the Sweet 16.
Okay, I like it. I would love to see that if that occurs. We got some new peeps in. Joe is in. Squeeze Money's in the house saying Boise got robbed. Yeah, Boise's disappointed.
Yeah.
I kind of knew it when it was CSU and Boise there in the final. I'm like, I think they're only going to take one of these, so you guys better win this game. Well, guess what? Boise didn't play very well.
You said right away that they weren't getting 5.
Yeah.
Especially after getting 6 last year, it just seemed like the committee was willing to take 4. They weren't taking 5. But, 2 years, getting 6 last year, 4 this year, pretty darn amazing for the Mountain West. And that puts them, really at the top of the kind of mid-major conferences as far as number of bids the last couple of years.
Yeah, they're right there. Yeah, for sure. Love Muscle says Neat Clifford is a dude. Agree. Total dude. Big Mama. No, we're not going to do a bracket challenge. But, there's a few sites out there that are doing bracket challenges.
Yeah.
We're just not one of them. Because I'm not good at it anyway. Let's see here. I talked about Squeeze Money. Cooper Flag, you mentioned him. But Big Mama says overrated.
Yeah, Big Mama's a Clemson fan.
Oh.
So I don't think...
Is that the problem?
Yeah, she's not a big Duke fan. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Did you want to go to the bracket?
No, I think we already had. I don't think there's any further in depth that we need to do on the bracket.
Okay, all right. Well, that's all we had on our drink thing, Steve. Anything else you want to talk about tonight? It might be a short one. We knew it was going to be a little low key, a little laid back. Anything else you want to bring up?
So I still think, in general, I think the Big Ten is waiting, and I think there's a good chance we may have to wait, closer to 2030, like 2027, 2028 to find out. But I will say, there's been some rumblings that maybe the SEC makes a move first. So I think people should I'm not predicting anything, but people should just kind of be aware of that. And I just think that the SEC and ESPN kind of hold all the cards for what's going to be going forward. But I think the biggest thing right now is everyone is in this holding pattern until the House settlement gets done. Once the ink is dried on that and they put together some kind of governance, it would not surprise me at all. Even though I think it's more likely we wait a few more years, it would not surprise me if that's kind of the catalyst where, now the SEC makes their move, which causes the Big Ten to respond. So we might see some craziness. I'm hoping we can get Immaculate on. You were talking about that.
Yeah.
Go more in depth on this settlement.
Yeah.
Some big things, happening coming up soon. And like we talked about, the SEC likely to, I think it's either later this week or next week, likely to vote to approve the 9-game season, which I think is a big part of what they need to do before coming up with a scheduling agreement with the Big Ten. We got an episode about that coming up.
Yep.
So those things happening, the settlement getting done, hopefully, the SEC going to 9 games, those could be 2 major catalysts that we, see some action going forward. I know we'll be paying attention to, we're not basketball guys per se, but we're going to be paying attention how the Big Ten and the Mountain West teams do. We'll keep everybody updated on that. And again, hopefully maybe we get Immaculate on next week, have a further discussion about the settlement. There's just, things going on. The
other thing, so I wanted to just say something about that with you.
Yes.
The last time we talked about this, which was 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We talked about me saying that I think the SEC wanted the Big Ten to go first.
Yeah.
And you've always been saying that the Big Ten wants the SEC to go first. And I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to change my mind. I've heard a few things. That I do believe the SEC is likely to go first. I think the Big Ten, and the Big Ten's more kind of set in right now.
Yep.
They've done more of the big moves recently.
Yep.
And so I'm going to change and flip to where you're at and say the SEC will likely be the first conference to announce a move whenever that happens. I'm still much more bullish than you on the timeline.
Yeah.
I know you're kind of like, things are going to wait a little bit. I get what you're saying here. I am much more bullish on a timeline of when that's going to happen. Lord knows, I know at this point we can't put out timelines because you're held to a timeline like your life depends on it.
Yes.
So I am not going to put out a timeline. But I will say that I'm more bullish on the timeline than what you are. And Immaculate is in the house. We've talked about him a few times. Speak of the devil. Oh, you're better than the devil. But he agrees SEC definitely first. And we've got Matt Ritsonen back in the house. Heard Stanford bullied athletic staff. What does that say? HCC?
I think it's just head coach.
Head coach. There's an extra C in there or something. Okay.
So is he talking about the basketball head coach, the football head coach? What are we talking about, Matt?
Unfortunately, Matt,
we don't know.
I have not heard that.
No.
So yeah, put a little chatty chat in there, and we can, if other people have something on that. But yes, SEC first, and yes, UNC definitely just kind of, we've talked about this a couple times. They're kind of right at the top of that list right now, waiting to probably get out of the ACC.
So I will just kind of opine on Matt. Is it Ritson?
Yeah.
His post. Okay, so it says football. Very possible. And so here's the thing: is there's always a delicate balance between head football coaches and the athletic training staff. Okay, it happens everywhere. Penn State just settled a lawsuit where their team doctor sued the university because he said there was pressure on them to return players back, sooner than normal. And where most of the players said, no, that's crap, but they did have one player that said, yes, that happened to him.
Yeah.
And we've seen that at other places. We saw that bad incident in Maryland before. We saw, things happened at Texas Tech years ago. So there's always a conflict, not always a conflict, but there's always kind of a delicate balance there. So it may have happened. We haven't heard anything about it. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
The thing is now that we're in 2025, everyone's got smartphones, whatever. Coaches have to be smart. You just did an episode about some stuff that would happen in Utah State.
Deep dive into the Utah State controversy.
Yes. Coaches have to be smart. Everything they say or do can be recorded and put out to the public at any time. So they have to be careful. I'll look into that a little more and see if it's something, worth talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Take a look. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing up that USU. So that USU episode I did, had somebody reach out to me about that. It took me several weeks to kind of get that put together. And if you're interested in, I'm sure our dwellers already know it's out there, but if you're interested in knowing more about what happened at USU with Blake Anderson last summer, the deputy AD Bovee, and a few other staff members, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. It's a mess. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Utah State Office of Equity looks to be a big mess. I think some of the scapegoat talk, I don't think it's as cut and dry and black and white. It never is. But I think there could be a little something to that.
Well, that's another thing we've seen at different times. We don't always see it, but sometimes we see where schools want to get rid of a coach.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's things they're willing to overlook or not make a big deal out of.
Yeah.
And suddenly maybe they want to get rid of them, so they make a big deal out of something that they wouldn't, because they can save money by firing them for cause. I have no idea if that's what happened in this case. Who knows? But we have seen that before. Chase brings up about, the teams you're mentioning for the Pac.
Yeah.
He brings up baseball. I know JH is on here. The Beavs, always one of the best baseball teams in the country.
Yep.
It's now baseball season. I've seen our Florida State fans have been sharing all kinds of baseball and softball stuff. So I'm sure the Beavs also are excited about baseball season. And really, a lot of those teams out there in West, baseball's big out west too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Texas State doing some upsets and
Yes,
stuff. So
yeah.
they're making a name for themselves.
Was it one of the smaller Texas schools just beat the Texas Longhorns? I don't remember if it was Texas State or UTSA. It might have been UTSA.
Yeah, Texas State.
Might have been UTSA. Yeah.
But anyway, there was one other thing you mentioned that Immaculate. Yeah, we were at the beginning of the episode. You don't have to go back and watch this whole thing. We're just having a good old time. But we were talking a little bit about the house back in the beginning, and house settlement and the committee. What is that? The implementation committee.
Yeah.
And that maybe we'll have you back on here shortly to have a conversation about all that kind of stuff. So, all right. You good?
I'm good.
We'll keep this one a little short tonight. We're back live. We'll be back again next week. Thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, we've got UC Davis AD lined up. That'll come out later in the week. Steve's going to do his scheduling. What do we call that?
Big Ten SEC scheduling challenge.
There we go. That'll come out on Monday. And another AD coming back, hopefully, Jeremiah Dickey. We're going to line that up for the Boise fans, Mountain West fans, Pac fans. We'll get him back on the Big Mountain maybe in April. So, hey, with that, we thank you guys for watching this. Smash that like button. We'll see you next time on the Big Mountain.